WV Uncommonplace. This podcast is a variety podcast that houses numerous series to cover mental health, empowerment, podcast framework, and various intimate theories to get to know the hosts. Along with occasional movies reviews and dives in pop culture with our event podcast episodes. The Uncommonplace digs into bringing guests on that stories don't fit the mold and are very different. WV stands for the great state of West Virginia, and every quarter we cover something in West Virginia. Stacey and myself, JR, are your hosts, so please come along for this venture to our Uncommonplace.
Howdy everybody, I am JR, the host of West Virginia Uncommonplace.
I'm Stacey, and I'm part of Sparrow's Under Review.
Hi guys.
And who do we have here?
I'm John Kuder, and we are Kuder Consulting Group, and I have my partner here.
I'm Connie Kudder.
Okay.
Yes, we've been together now for eons.
Okay. Now what brought y'all over to us was that y'all had some audio questions, and that's my specialty.
Correct.
We love that.
All right.
Yeah, we are podcasting as part of our business. Mm-hmm. It's the two of us on camera together. We really work well together and play off each other. So I'm using my iMac. I've got a 27-inch iMac.
Okay.
It's got a great camera. It's got a great microphone. So we've been happy with that.
Right.
When we do Facebook Lives, we've been using a lapel mic that I just clip on my shirt. Okay. I expanded that. I got a Y connector, okay. and we've got two lapel mics, and they go into the one, and it goes into the phone. Great. But when I try to plug that into the back of my iMac, when I go into the mic port, it also shuts off the speaker. So I can't use that in our podcast sessions because we can't hear our guests.
Okay. So I have a suggestion for that. These are lavaliers. And a lavalier mic, you can use, do you have the dongle for that?
Actually, we do have lavaliers.
Well, ours are wired, but I tried something similar I found on Amazon that looked to what you're showing, the little radio ones, and we didn't get good results from it.
Well, with that, the extra piece, I don't know where it's at, but it hooks
in a black bag somewhere.
Yeah, it hooks into the bottom, and you can hook in a Type-C headphone, so you can sound check the lavalier mics now.
Oh.
So what these are, you don't want to have headphones in while you're doing anything with it, which to me these are kind of silly in my opinion, because you can't hear very well. I like these because you do have the headphones within everything. It's kind of combined. He's more of the techie person, but I just kind of understand from behind.
But for the situation that you all are talking about, noise cancellation and things like that.
Right, but what he's saying is once they hook that piece in here, they can't hear the guest.
When we plug it into the computer, the
Mac,
the back of the Mac has but it's a multi-plug, so it's both microphone and speakers.
Oh, at the same time.
So when you plug the microphone in, you lose the Mac speakers, and now unless we had. So somehow we're going to have a setup where we've got headphones.
Okay.
Each of us has our own set of headphones and the two mics, and all of that going into the Mac.
Well,
and that's our side.
Okay, so the second thing that I do with this, because obviously I can't hear it recording at all, I use Bluetooth headphones, which, Bluetooth technology, you can only put one in one ear. So both of you will be able to hear. You just have to buy a set, and you decide on the left or the right. And that could be something that you could do to hear yourself and the guest. And that's what I do with this. I'll put a Bluetooth in because I can't, obviously, like I told you how she sound checks, I'm not going to hear anything, when I'm on that mic. So that's an alternative that you could do there.
That we will try. We've got a little set of Bluetooth headphones that we can pair and try.
Yeah, we can. And will it pair to the computer? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, we'll pair it to the computer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not just to my phone.
Right.
See, I don't know the.
Because most computers you can hook up more than one thing, so you should be able to put your little port in the computer and then have the headphones at the same time.
Well, because that's a Bluetooth connection, two different types of connections. But
I was just explaining that you should be able to have them both.
What you do inside of your settings on there, and I'll show that to y'all after we're off the interview, you can go in and make sure that Bluetooth is channeled right. So I would take like your lavalier or your lapel, if that's what you're using, and I would just take my hand and just touch it. And when you touch it, you'll get that feedback, and it'll be a little intense. And one thing I will advise not to do, if you have AirPods, don't attach those to it, because the Bluetooth technology and stuff that they use is no longer compatible. What they use is NFC. The NFC connects that to the PC. That's what connects your the AirPods. So you would have to share them, but once you hook them into that, it's going to be hard to put it back on this device or that device, because it's always going to have like a lock-in mechanism, which you can change it each time, but who wants to do that each time? Because we had an issue. She was trying to watch TV on this with me on the airplane, and her headphones connected, but it went into the Find My iPhone mode because they thought that they were stolen, because she didn't have a way to connect them. So, so stay away from them. But any type of wireless Bluetooth headphone, heck, you can go to Five Below and get some. That'll work for you.
Okay.
Really?
I would, start with the $5 pair
That
if
gives
it
us a
works,
lot
and
to
then
work
get you a
with for
better
our
pair.
side.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, now the other side of it is that we're interviewing guests, and we want to, because we wanted them to talk about their relationship in a
Because
family
it's
business.
family business.
Right.
Okay.
So typically what our guests have is what most everybody has. They've got a laptop.
Right.
So they're sitting next to each other. They've got the laptop in front of them. They're using the laptop camera. They're using a laptop microphone, which is typically not that great.
Right.
And again, I'm talking. I come from the session over here, and the pro says, well, they got to have a mic, and you said,
Yeah, I would.
you require people to have a mic.
Right.
How do you negotiate that?
Yeah,
And when
Now-
you've got two people, do you require them to have two mics in a fancy setup, or
Yeah.
what do you do?
So before he answers, are you going out to find these guests, or are they coming to you?
We're finding them. We're inviting them, and
Okay.
and it's like that's another piece of the thing is people say, yeah, I'll be glad to do it, and then they reschedule and they cancel, and the easier we have to make it super easy for them to show up, or they're not
Right.
showing up.
Okay.
Okay.
Because they don't understand the value
Right.
of what a podcast can do for you.
Right. And so on more of like a personal level. So I'm coming to you like, hey, we have this podcast. We would love for you to join. We want you to come on. We want you to talk about this. This is what we're doing. This is how, whatever your pitch is, to bring them in. But the only thing that we ask of you is, of course, if you guys have any requirements, but then we would prefer you to have a microphone, or at least a headphone that has a microphone on it per person. Like if they get one of these, I think they would be fine doing it with one microphone if they're sitting beside each other. But if they're using headphones, I would definitely ask them to have their own headset, because like I said, they can take either iPhone or Samsung even, and this connector, they have the two-way splitters. They're $5 at Five Below, or you can probably find them at some Dollar Trees, Dollar Generals, Family Dollar, stuff like that. That they can get them. Yep. Like this.
So we could hand that to them and say,
Because are you doing in person, or are you? Okay.
We're doing Zoom.
Okay.
So
yeah.
It's all our guests are always remote. They're not with us.
Okay, so
Okay,
if your guests are never with you, there's one key thing that you have to do with your podcast. Whenever you start it, because you got to treat it like a business, you need to make a guest release form. In the guest release form, inside of that, state the specifications for what they need to have to be on the show. When you do that, it's not pushing it onto someone hard. It's like, hey, these are our dedicated rules. This is the type of respect we want for our podcast. And if they can't meet that simple standard, it's an easy way of telling you no from them, which means a new opportunity for you to get someone else on your show. And for the curation of your guests, if you are having a hard time finding guests, there's a great service called Podmatch. I know you've already heard of it. They've been pushing it down everybody's throat. Alex and Filippo, really good, great people. You can find them there. You can go to podcastguest.com, and they'll make you a spreadsheet also. And they do it for free.
And that's the word. That's the word we like.
podcast.com.
We like free.
Yeah, podcast.
That's my favorite word.
Yeah, podcastguest.com. And then what you do is you let them know what type of guests you're looking for, so they don't send you a ton of authors or a ton of life coaches, because that's not necessarily, I don't know that much. We'll talk about your podcast
small
in just a
business.
minute, in just a second, so that we can get some more into it. Or just like for small business, Then, the next thing after that, once you have the guest release form there, that takes care of the liability of video and audio. Because people fail to realize, even if you're doing this as a hobby, because you've probably heard from Gordon, the podcast lawyer. Y'all heard him already?
I've actually downloaded his release form, and we've started, made a small modification and started using that.
Right.
So, and you also mentioned your guests are canceling and stuff like that. If it was me, I would put in that clause that they're signing, if you cancel on us with less than this much, or no-show, there is going to be a fee. We will invoice you this fee.
And I'll tell you,
whether they pay it,
it's here nor
what
there.
you want to go with it, but
But
I'll say
establishing boundaries.
yes.
But I will say this, I do that on my show for the simple fact that I work a job where I travel all over the United States, and I only have Tuesday Eastern Time, 6 to 8 p.m. to do shows. And when someone cancels on me, it doesn't mess up my curation process, but it messes up.
It takes away from somebody else.
There's an opportunity cost.
Yes. And at the end of the day, that's one thing that we don't get back that time. And so you should be compensated, even if it's a low nominal amount, for that. $5 here or there. I had it at one point.
We don't go crazy.
Yeah, nothing crazy, but something that just makes sense, because $5 will take me somewhere. It'll take me to go get a drink at Starbucks or something at Hardee's or whatever.
Buy your soda for the day. Mm-hmm.
Now, on to the best part of the show. Can you all tell us about your podcast?
Sure. We are, the title of it is Celebrating Small Family Businesses. So what we do in our business, our main business, is that we work with the owners of small family businesses and help them separate the family drama from the business operations and give them tools to reduce their stress, just make life work easier.
Okay.
So it's a form of, it's a combination of consulting and coaching both. And because it's a family business, I came from a family business, and the number one rule in my father's family business was you don't talk about the business to anybody outside the family.
Right.
So, walking in the door and saying, hi, we're going to help you solve your family issues in your business, not such a great way to go, right?
Right.
But to invite somebody onto our podcast as a guest and talk about what's great about their family business, what they love about their family relationships in the business, is what they want to talk about. It's what we want to help them get to, more of. And then if we have a relationship, we get to know them a little bit, and we find we're a fit through this process, then it's a much more natural conversation to say, hey, if there's something we can help you with.
Right. Well, I like that.
I like that too.
Yeah, because, family businesses are the toughest things to do.
Right.
And 90% of the businesses in America are actually classified as family businesses.
Whoa.
Right.
So those other 10% are, the big corporations and stuff that we all know and some of us love. But the mom and pops are the ones that are out here.
Right.
That are starting, from scratch, or they've got their kids working for them because they're cheap. Of which
Or
we
instilling
right.
life skills. We could say that.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Exactly.
life skills and soft. We aren't taught how to manage relationships generally, and so the things that happen in families that people just we've both worked in other people's family businesses at times,
Right.
and the stuff that's just like normal to them is very noticeable to customers and employees, and it can become uncomfortable if somebody gets in an argument with their mother or sibling
Right.
in the workplace, right?
But they don't understand
but
that.
that's just
Right,
what's
because
normal
that's
to
what they're
them.
That was normal.
So, that kind of stuff is very much solvable.
Right. Okay.
And a lot of it's just awareness and communication, because we forget to communicate with our family members.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Because you see them all the time. Why do I need to talk to them?
Right,
They
right.
should
Yes.
be reading my mind after
Right.
50 years.
He tells me.
It's like
He's
we
like,
give 'em-
I spent all day with you. What do you want? I'm just like, yeah, we sat beside each other, but we didn't do anything. So give me
Right.
some attention.
Right.
Right. It's like we unconsciously set a lower standard. We lower the bar for our family members.
Right.
And yet they're the most important people in our lives.
They are.
They ought to get the, it's kind of like teachers and first responders not getting paid,
Exactly.
same kind of
Commensurate
deal.
with what they do.
Yep.
But it's the same way with family members. We forget that our partner sitting there is the most important person in our life.
Right.
True.
And our business.
Okay. So where can somebody find your podcast?
We are currently on YouTube only.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's Kuder Consult, and that's Kuder Consulting Group on YouTube.
Okay.
And then we will soon be joining the distribution channels.
Yes.
Audio
Okay.
only.
So you do audio along with that, obviously, because it's on YouTube.
But we do visual. That we do.
Right. Visual.
We do video, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a space
I
for that.
love video.
Okay.
I'm a visual person.
Yeah.
I have problems with processing hearing, just a hearing. But I can read body language and get so much more out of it.
Okay.
So that's how I do it.
Okay.
Well, and another aspect of video for all businesses, really small businesses, they're becoming more relationship focused.
Right.
Small businesses want to connect to their customers. Video has an amazing quality. We spend time watching someone on video for a bit. Like, well, you mentioned Alex Sanfilippo.
Yes.
Right? I've sat through, I want to say a few hours of video content with him. When I saw him the first time at this conference, I walked up like I already knew him because I did.
Right.
But he didn't know who I was.
Exactly.
And I've had that happen a couple of times. So I know from personal experience that putting out consistent video content, when somebody consumes that,
Right.
they feel like they know you. And so it's a great way to form relationships that aren't in person.
Right, and he's a good example of being of the type of person that's anybody can walk up to him and you feel like you've known him for your entire life.
Yes, he has that personality anyway. He's a
Yep.
very warm and
Right.
welcoming person.
Right. Okay. I get that.
But I mean, even looking at you watch a TV show, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And you get involved with them, and you think you know everything.
Yes.
Guess what?
I'm part of Grey's Anatomy here. Like,
Exactly.
I'm a surgeon already. I do it too. It's okay.
Thank you.
But most of it, he'll hopefully be able to cut out.
So I'll tell y'all something funny real fast. The reason that I got this furry thing on is because I make mouth noises, all that, and that blocks it out.
Yes.
See, there you go.
And I see the lavalier mics you've got the little foam screens on them. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy that I stopped in the hallway and asked him about these with the fuzzy things on the lavalier, he said if you're holding it, then definitely put one of those on it. But if you're tacking it to a shirt and it's down here, he said these work just fine. So that's another piece of advice that I learned this weekend for free.
Isn't that
I'll
great?
have to get
It
what
is.
brand you've used there.
Amazon. Honestly, I just went on Amazon. I got the cheapest mic set that I could find. Same with this.
And I clipped them. I got one that looks exactly like that. I clipped it to my shirt, right here, and the sound level was way lower.
See, these are really high, is my thing. And when you're listening to it, it sounds high in the this thing, the earbud. But once you put it on the computer, it sounded better. And so it does seem overbearing at first, but then it gets better because you can adjust your sound on the
I'll show you.
computer.
This is where I made the mistake. I had the microphone on and put this in my ear. Oh,
Blasted you.
Yep. And they're like another one of those. You can hear yourself talk, so you know where to control your volume. You just can't hear the other person.
But when we do our vocal setup, like when we're doing a TikTok video or something with someone, doing that and having the person that's actually recording listening, the device audio on these, will lower the mics down also. So that's a key thing if you have someone that can sound check, or if you're sound checking, you can lower that device audio, and it takes care of everything with the lavaliers. That was the hack I had to learn off of YouTube Academy, because I was like, how do we lower it down? Because noise cancellation all day long to get the background out, but I was on there like this.
Yep.
And how many people do you see on everything that you watch?
Right.
They're eating.
Right. And like with these ones, you can be this far and you're not feeling like you're all scrunched up and everything. That's why I like these mics.
And so these are, the brand is Zoom?
Zoom.
Yes.
Yep. Best Buy. They have. This was. How much was this?
That was like about $300.
Okay.
But there's a $150 option I can show you that's cheap.
These.
Okay.
This set comes with the mic and the headphone. 2 of them for. I think I got them for $50.
Oh,
Yeah.
Wow.
This connector was $12 because I got it on Black Friday.
And the only reason
You're a
that
smart shopper.
And the only reason we have this set up is because this is my problem with XLR mics and all this stuff. The connection that you hook into your computer is USB. So if I have a USB mic and I'm hooking it in the same way, I may get better quality with this, but the sound quality, when it's actually transferred over to whatever you're using, is still going to be downgraded to the same thing if you use the USB over an XLR mic. The only reason that these are great is the Mac, for instance, if you have more than 2 mics, you've got to make a aggregated device, and making an aggregated device with 2 USB mics, that's what killed our show in the beginning, like made it horrible, because over time, if you don't put the mics a certain way and set the patterns a certain way, they'll catch each other. And with these, we can be this close, and my mic will never catch your track won't catch mine, hers won't catch mine either.
Right.
So this was something gradually we worked to, but our idea was that we're going to be at a place like this, we're traveling around doing Comic-Cons and all that stuff. I need to have something that I can do, and I can just take the SD card out of here, put it in the laptop, and keep getting up, because it's going to get transferred some way, somehow, and it's got to be stored somewhere, so might as well do it the old-fashioned way, on a decent piece of storage.
So with this thing, after he does his episode, he'll put it in there. He's got his editing down to like 20 minutes. So he throws it in there. It does it all itself. It reduces the background noise. Does any what were those other things that you said that it takes out?
Like ambient sounds, just anything that's not supposed to be there. The AI takes all that stuff out.
It does very well, and it's that free program.
Wow.
Now, what about the ums and the ahs and the...
For distraction editing, that's something that you're going to always have to do yourself. Like that, that's one thing that got me about AI. I was like, you're able to create all this stuff, but we need something to distraction edit for us. Mm-hmm. Now, I personally don't do distraction editing for the simple fact I like my conversation to be organic, but in the presence of what you all do, I understand the presentation and how you need to have it set.
Right.
So
we might want to reduce it, but not eliminate it.
Right.
And that's where Descript has worked well so far for us, because it will identify all those things. It does have the option. I want to use an example of 167 ums in a half-hour recording.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yes.
Right.
That's overpowering.
And you can, the AI will identify them all. It'll highlight them all. With one click, you can eliminate it. It just deletes them all.
And I had,
or the other thing you can do is step through them. And you can step through and choose one by one, remove. That takes a little bit of extra editing time. But there are times when a or a so, it doesn't
needed.
distract. It doesn't. It's just it flows so fast, or they set it so fast, it's not distracting. So ignore that. Leave it in.
Yeah.
And so Descript does let you do that.
Yeah, I do love Descript. That's one thing. I love them for everything that they do. And I do like Squadcast. And one thing I will say about Squadcast, what I like about them, if you're doing a live situation, like you're going to stream it on LinkedIn, Facebook, or something like that, they are probably one of the better ones for doing live streaming.
Better than StreamYard.
I hate to say this for the record, but yes, better than StreamYard. The only thing that StreamYard has up on everybody is that their Instagram live integration, if that's your market, which a lot of people know what market is, just a place, it's a reminder for people to know about my show, in all honesty.
It's for young kids.
Yeah, it's for younger people, yeah. So I don't necessarily use that, but LinkedIn Live, for what you guys do.
Yeah, LinkedIn Live, we want to be there. And that StreamYard is really the easy way to go, LinkedIn Live. Yeah.
But you can use Squadcast for that also.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just talk to them about their presets and getting all that stuff straightened out.
Especially
do they
if
have?
you already have
So that's a
something
really. I had an issue with Squadcast where we had a dropout. Our guest had a dropout on their internet. They froze temporarily. They unfroze, and I knew Squadcast was going to take care of it, right? And I could still hear him talking. Everything's good. But when I downloaded the sound file, or the audio and video files, his audio, after that freeze, his audio cut out. It was silenced. And so I had 10 minutes of his mouth moving when he talked and no sound. And I couldn't, there was no recovering it.
So
I don't know what happened.
I will say that's a server issue. Now, that's the only thing with StreamYard, because everyone, or with StreamYard and with Squadcast, each one has their ups and downs. When it's something like that happens, I go out and I go on a test spree. I go to Riverside. I go try another service. Because Riverside,
I didn't like Riverside.
We didn't like Riverside, but Riverside, the one thing that it did do, when the video first, we live in West Virginia, so you know that our internet's bad half the time. it kept the audio, but it didn't get the video. So I was like, wow. So I put that in my notes, and while you're collaborating, like we're talking now, I made a decision that I will tell people Riverside is a good service to use if someone's using Chrome browsers. My issue with quite a few of these services, if you're not using a Chrome browser and you're using Safari, because there's no dedicated app, which we need dedicated apps for the Macs.
And maybe that's an issue on your guest side. Find out what browser they're using.
Okay.
Because if
Prefer
they're
Chrome?
Yes.
Okay.
They say do not use Safari for anything, basically.
Oh,
Chrome or Firefox.
So inside the computer, we keep Chrome on there, even though I don't like it.
Because that was a lot of our issue when we first started using Riverside, is we were using Safari. But once we got into Chrome and Firefox, it was better, but I wouldn't recommend them.
Okay. And I was looking at StreamYard. I've been learning to use, and we practiced with StreamYard to see, because of what the problem I had,
Right.
and I need an alternate. But I really want to use Squadcast because I've got it built into the script, and
Right,
I
and
want to
it's
have
one
that.
seamless flow.
Right. So I would try that out. Like, start with the microphones and ask them to make sure they at least have a headset. Because, like you said, they can go to Five Below and buy a $5 piece of headset. if
Now,
they
we're
have
talking
to.
like a gaming headset that's got a microphone here
You
where it's
could
all
do
in
that,
one?
or
are
they
we
have
talking-
this. And like the iPhone headphones have the little thingy down
The
here.
mic right there.
Oh, you mean just
they
like
have those
earbuds
ones.
heads?
Yeah,
Oh.
those, or ones that look like this that have the mic, whatever they prefer. But if they're more like, well, I don't want to go buy anything, you can say, well, it's only $5.
Excuse me real quick, I want to clarify something. The actual wireless earbuds tell them no. And
If they're just using it one time, though.
not for a microphone, because it gives it like this hollow sound.
Does it?
Yeah, it gives a real hollow sound. So something that's wired with a microphone, like you're saying, or even, if they have that microphone piece on the end.
Okay.
But using just the small little tiny earbuds, it's this weird distortion. Because I hate when people get on with their AirPods, because their microphone, because it's longer, the old ones, those are amazing, but the little short ones that look like hearing aids, no.
Okay, so we're talking,
Okay.
when we're talking a headset, we're talking about wired earbuds, if we're going to go there.
Yes.
It doesn't seem practical to make them want to buy these like professional headsets
Right.
that we're wearing right
Right.
now, and a separate, USB mic,
Right.
Right.
like a Blue Yeti or
Right.
something, but
Now, those are always like, you can make you a list that says these are our recommendations, and then you can let them choose whichever one they want.
okay.
Because if it's something they might decide they wanted to come on and come back to you or something and just keep talking, or go and do with somebody else, they're like, ooh, I enjoyed that talking to you guys so much, maybe let me keep doing it with other people, so they're already going to be prepared and they kind of know what to expect. But I would be like, here's your low level. We're not going to get the best quality sound with these, but it will work. We'll be able to do something with it. If you want your episode to sound crisp and great, and then we recommend this one. So kind of give them ideas and make them feel like they're making a decision instead of feeling pressured to be like, ooh, I have to go buy this.
Okay.
It's like, I have options. Ooh, that's a good idea. I would be more open to that as an outside person.
Well, and I was even thinking, if they're $5, I would go and hand the two of them and say, now, this is how we're going to do this.
Unless you get someone from California.
California, what?
Right. If they're out of state, we can't
Right.
hand it
Right,
to them.
I
We
understand
can
that.
ship it to
I
them.
But local,
understand,
yeah.
but local,
Yeah.
and
Right.
hand it to them going, little darlings, this is how we're going to play this
And
game.
my thing is, if someone is pursuing podcasts to be on them, they should have a microphone. If they're pursuing them,
They're probably not. These the folks that we're reaching out to, they're running a business and they're not pursuing
Right.
podcasts
Right.
unless we educate them towards that. And hopefully
Right.
we'll create an experience for them that will be pleasant. But
Yeah.
they're not thinking about that. I don't.
But me and you thought of the same thing. Me and you thought about this at the same time, and we didn't click on it, but we're clicking on this thing now.
What's that?
One thing that's a cord. Everybody has a cell phone, so at some point they have some type of apparatus to put on or put in their ears. So that
Yes.
could be something you put in your podcast, or at least just it can't be computer audio. if you have a headphone or just something, because like you said, it's such an inexpensive thing. They could even go to the Dollar Tree and get the cheapest microphones. I mean, it might echo in their ears, but they don't have a mic on it. They can pay $1.25 for a set of headphones with a microphone jack on it, and then work from there. The other thing that I always tell people, though, that when you do bring them on, have them actually test their sound before they jump in Squadcast or the Zoom meeting, because a lot of people will just jump right in and not test it. And when I'm a guest, I'll test my audio before I even go into your room. That's another thing I would just throw in there in your...
What do you use to test that on your end?
On my end?
Yeah.
My device, you can just test it. It'll let you test the microphone and the headphones through the app.
If you're using Zoom.
If you're using Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zoom. Got it.
Now, Squadcast,
Zoom has that test built in.
Squadcast, I'll have to find out.
They have a little level meter, and there is a green room, and they do have a test. That's one of the things I like about it. I don't know that guests, they're in the green room by themselves.
Right.
So, there's a lot of settings that they can check, and echo cancellation and all that. But once you get into the session, as the host, you can go and change those settings for them if you need to.
Right.
So that's
and my other thing, because I've been podcasting for a little bit of time, just 2017. What I do with my guests at the very beginning, and I call it the behind-the-scenes stuff. I might not use it, may not. I will take the first 5 minutes of the show, and I will have the red button on recording, because the mics, once they're on, they're hot. Anyway, and that's where I'll get the sound to make sure it's going to go good. Now, we can't worry about the connection, but at the first 5 minutes of your show, if you dedicated an hour to it and the show's 45 minutes, I don't do pre-calls with people. I do everything in that one session when we're going to do it. I mean, reach out to them to get them to come on the show, but we do our pre-call before we do the interview, so that's in that hour that I give them with that Zoom thing. Check the audio in the first 5 minutes, so whatever's in the first 5 minutes, that's an easy edit that you already know that you just had a template for, that, hey, this is the chop off part, this is where I start my show.
So how long have you guys been doing your podcast?
Just a couple months.
Okay. So you're going to get to the point where people are going to come to you. So remember that. You're going to be successful, because I think you guys have a great idea. And you're going to go somewhere, so you're going to need to come back or come to someone else and get more, like, okay, I know, what do I need to do? Because eventually you're going to want to start, monetizing. So you're definitely going to want to incorporate the no-show fees, and then people are just going to come find you.
That's awesome.
And then you're like, okay, well, this is what I charge per episode. So
Perfect.
those are also just things to think about and throw in there. And then when you're doing your letters, to make sure, or your contracts, to have that in there. Once you get to a certain point and they're finding you definitely want them to have the mic set up, because they're looking for a podcast.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
I mean, and that's my personal opinion.
And then the thing with YouTube, where y'all have this intimacy thing, this type of setup, local-wise, because I know there's mom and pops when you get outside of the commercial areas.
Yeah.
This could be something that's warming and enticing. You don't have to do the expensive thing, but having a mobile setup that you all can take along with your remote, because remote's going to be fine for you for a while, but the more that it's going to get warmer here. When spring comes, y'all are going to want to go out and meet these businesses, try out different things, and different things to help the business. So, like if it's a candy business, for instance, you might want to go there and you'll have your audio equipped and everything.
I had not thought about going mobile, but so we can take the whole setup to them and
Just
do
like
the
we're
podcast.
So, see, this here, the iPad, putting the lavalier mics and then the connector in it, everything's there. You can already have that conversation. And even they have
As long as
tripods.
you've got a strong Wi-Fi connection where they are.
Yes.
Right.
Mobile hotspots, wonderful to invest in. I think.
And then the other thing that I do with this, like if we were going to do like our normal professional show when we were meeting over at the hotel, I would take this and this USB, put a dongle on the end of this, like you would, like basically this, hook this in, hook this whole setup into this, and we would all have to be on GarageBand right now. And I would just be letting the episode go. I already had my template set so that I could drop my music and all that stuff, which y'all wouldn't hear. But you could do that
So you're saying you'd have an external USB? I've forgotten what they call that now, but multiple inputs into the iPad, and then you could use 4 USB microphones and run all 4 of them into GarageBand.
Yeah, if I
because
want
you can
to,
connect
I
this
just
to
use this.
this.
I would just use this, connect that, or you could do the USB.
Oh, I see. Okay.
When you
So
do
you're-
USBs on an Apple, you have to make an aggregated device.
That's what you were saying about aggravated device.
Right, yeah.
It sounds aggravating rather than aggregating.
Yes.
But if you guys decide to do, like, you want to travel, say you want to go to
West Virginia. to
West
see
Virginia,
you.
exactly. You're coming to West Virginia, and we have a small business in Elizabeth that just started, and you want to talk to them about it. We have a library, so you could meet these people, come into their business, explain what's going on, and then go reserve one of the free rooms at the library. Set up your equipment. It's already in your box. You have your computer, your iPad, and now you have 4 mics. You can just talk to the people, and you're sitting here having a conversation like this.
That would be wonderful.
Because do you guys
'Cause we
work
don't wanna-
full
we
time,
don't
or are
wanna
you
build a studio?
right?
We don't have a
You got
studio.
your
This
move.
is the studio.
We just in Charleston, West Virginia, we just got a huge upgrade on our library. They put in podcasting rooms.
Yeah, Tampa's got one.
Do they?
Yes.
At their main
Yeah, the main
library.
library
Okay.
downtown has a podcasting room. You can reserve it. I think you can only reserve it for a total of 60 minutes a month.
Okay.
So
See, ours isn't that popular. Hopefully, it won't get too bad. But they've let him rent it for like hours, all day.
Well, what we did is a corner of one of our rooms is we turned into the office.
Gotcha.
And so we've got the iPad sitting. I mean, his computer sitting on the table or his desk. We hung blackout curtains
Okay. Yes.
behind. Cheap.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cheap and easy.
Yep.
I think I got them at Walmart for like $10 a.
Okay.
Okay, hung them up,
Right.
and we have gotten more compliments
it looks very professional.
on there. And again, it's professional.
It's just a black curtain in front of a wall.
Yeah.
But that eliminates all the issues that the Zoom virtual backgrounds have.
Yes.
Right.
Because our first podcast interview, we interviewed a couple, and they were at slightly different distances from the camera, and moving forward and back as they talked, and so
We
one of
do
them,
that a lot.
their face would just go away. The background would just wipe out their face, or part of their other body parts.
Right. And that's another thing to
very
think about
distracting.
in your contracts is the background. And that's what I've had to get on and hint to him about, because sometimes he'll do in our gun room, and he'll have that stuff in the background. Like, you can't have that in your background. Like, you've got to put something behind you or find a different wall.
Yeah. For right now, we're doing what you've learned, to grow beyond, which is that tech check call ahead of time. So we're doing a pre-call. We're
Gotcha.
requiring
Okay.
a pre-call.
Okay.
And we just say, look, we need to do a tech check call. We can answer any questions you have. We can kind of go over the kind of questions we're going to ask, so you're really comfortable with that. But we also want to, do a test recording, get a sound check,
Right.
check your internet and your setting. Do you have a brightly lit window behind you that makes you look like you're in the witness protection program?
Right.
We can't do that.
Right.
So we sort that. I want to sort that stuff out in the pre-check, so that they've got maybe days, maybe a week to
Right.
fix all that if they need to,
Yes.
and not put a lot of pressure on them. So
Right.
that's my temporary solution and
Right.
thought process
Okay.
about that.
Which is a really good idea, because you guys do use the video.
Yes.
With him, he keeps the video and might use it later on, but we mostly do audio.
Right.
Well, yeah, for definitely what y'all are doing, y'all are on the right path. But like I said, that mobile option, just once you get into the thick of things, and make sure you want to stick around, because I don't think you're going to pod fade or anything. But sometimes when you invest in yourself, that was a mistake I didn't do. I didn't invest in myself early. I had really, really cheap equipment. I got my USB mics. I went to one of those bargain bin places. We bought 4 USB mics and would carry them around, hook them into that with the long thing like that, and 4 USB mics. Everybody would be talking. They would get caught in different mics and.
They weren't awful, but
They weren't bad.
they served the purpose.
But
Okay.
no clarity like what we have now.
Right.
But these XLR, is that the
Yes.
XLR mics, because they're very focused in the sound
Right.
window. Or,
Right.
Yes.
I should know the term, but
Yeah, it's
anyway,
all right.
we can all sit together, and we're not picking up each other's sound, right?
Right.
Right.
It's just our mic.
Right. And
That's
he's
what we
going to, each of them give a different track too when you go to load it into the
Yes.
system, and he likes that.
Yeah, and I got to figure that out in descript yet.
He's
they call
my
it
techie
sequences,
person.
the multi-track. I've learned the key word there. But I've still got to figure that out, and then rearranging it on the screen and all that.
Yes.
So if someone has a small business, family business, how do they reach out to you to get in touch with you?
The simplest way is to come to our website, thank you, which is
And?
Kuder, Kuder, consultinggroup.com.
Okay.
We have a Facebook page. The Facebook business page is Kuder Group.
Okay. And then just
Also LinkedIn,
Right?
Kuder Consulting Group, and also YouTube, Kuder Consulting Group. So
Okay.
if you want to kind of see us and get to know, kind of our vibe,
yes.
YouTube channel is the best place to go.
Because we've done other things besides interviews.
Right.
We do. We started a little tech thing on. I did not know this, but when you have a website, you don't own it.
No, you have to claim it.
You don't own the domain name.
I thought that you could. They have stuff out there that you can buy the domain.
Well, you lease it.
You lease it,
Yeah,
But even though it's a brand new name that you just made up,
Yeah.
and it's got
as
all
soon
your
as you
info on it.
register it, the registry that creates the listing for that, they own it, and all you do is renew that lease.
I pay Google $20 every year for mine.
Yeah.
And
But-
oh, by the way, you can. Cloudflare has a registry. They have their own, and they don't add on any extra charges.
Whoa.
So, like where I've been hosting my website, they were. The first year it was like $9. The next year it was $29 to renew. Well, they're just tacking on a charge because they can. Cloudflare is now advertising they do it for what it costs them. They're not adding anything on. So then you can move your domain names to Cloudflare if you want.
Okay.
That's
So
an
there's that
idea.
one too.
There again, you don't own it.
Right.
It's not yours. That shocked the daylights out of me.
We also
good
have a series of
information to know.
videos that we've done on cognitive biases because one of our kind of themes in our work is how we think affects how we behave. So
Yes.
if you want really high leverage, put in $1, get $10 out, work on how you think. And we're all evolutionarily wired to take mental shortcuts. We have to.
Right.
But these cognitive biases cause us to make mistakes, judgment mistakes. And so if we know a little bit about them, we can minimize their impact.
Right.
And then there's another
Right.
side of that called mental models where we all do it. We construct little simplified frameworks and models of how things work.
Okay.
And some of those are more effective than others.
Right.
And so that
So-
we talk back and forth about that on our YouTube channel.
So you'll get a little bit different flavor of who we are,
Right.
By
Okay.
going a little bit deeper in our YouTube channel, not just the podcast.
Gotcha.
I like that.
Okay.
We're
So-
multi.
Good. Well, that's good to know. We had a great time talking with you guys today.
Same here.
Hopefully you take something away with what we're
did.
trying to help you out with.
Yes, and we
Yes.
did. Thank you.
Make sure everybody listening goes out and checks them out.
On their YouTube channel.
Yes,
That's
we'll
right.
put their links down at the bottom and go from there. You got any last words?
Thank you all for coming on, and it was
Thank
amazing.
you.
I do want to tell a story real quick of how we all met.
Yes, please.
We started coming in here. We were just setting up a table, and you were just sitting over there. You were just watching us, and next thing you know, you came over and you came with an amazing deal. You didn't come with a hard sell or anything. You just looked at the equipment, wonder if we were.
Started asking the right
Yeah,
questions.
you thinking if we were people that were selling devices or anything, and you just ask simple questions, and next thing you know,
We brought you on.
yeah, and that's a great thing because that's podcasting right there. A simple conversation turned into an episode, and we will have all of their information, like Stacey said, inside our show notes. I will link everything up, and then we will keep everything according. And we will stress this one thing: we're going to push their material across all platforms that we're part of, social media-wise, even Tumblr.
Any last words from you guys?
Just thank you again for the
That's right. This was a great opportunity.
unexpected opportunity.
I've seen you all walking around, and you know how it wasn't the timing wasn't right yet.
Right.
Right.
This worked
No,
out
I've learned
great.
a ton.
It did.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Please follow WV Uncommonplace on Instagram, Tumblr, Twitter, TikTok where we have some great content, Facebook, LinkedIn. Hit up the merch store at uncommonplace.square.site.
Join the email list from the website and rate, subscribe, and give feedback from your favorite podcatcher. And lastly, thanks for listening and tune into the next episode.